I'm Kelly.
Hi, I'm Nishigandha.
Today we're going to answer some frequently asked questions from the internet about psychology and mental health. What psychology? What is psychology?
Psychology is the study of human behavior, human mind or brain. So it deals with the cognition part like thinking and how it processes and what kind of behaviors each and every human being has.
Yeah. We also kind of study the changes in the behaviors, how can they be modified, how can they be changed, and how people adapt to situations. What does psychology study? We study human beings and their behaviors.
Yeah,
and
their cognition.
What can psychology graduates do? They can work in the field of psychology.
Yeah.
They can study further into psychology.
They can do research.
They can do some research. They can volunteer. They can do social work. They can do a lot of things. They can study psychology and totally do something else.
Yeah, like an intern. Also, you can do stuff where you can just be under somebody and then learn or have some observe what the other psychologists do.
Studying psychology never goes to waste. You always learn something. For that matter, studying anything never goes to waste. Stay in school. What can psychology lead to? It can lead to working in the field of psychology.
Yeah,
That's the question.
I guess.
It can lead to research. It can lead to opening up new avenues for you. It can lead to understanding people. It can lead to you figuring out what you want with life. It can lead to a lot of things.
Also, it can lead to various psychology options that you can choose later in life.
Yeah.
So it can lead to anything. Yes.
Whatever you want it to lead to. What can psychology teach you?
Psychology can teach you a lot of things, such as, like how we said, behaviors, and then how the thinking patterns, and then how the person tries to cope with certain problems.
Yeah.
Or anything.
It depends which level of psychology you're studying. If you're studying at maybe a school level or high school level or undergrad level, you learn just maybe the history or the basics about what it is. You learn certain terms and concepts.
How it developed and...
Yeah, it's not really something in depth. But once you pursue psychology at a postgraduate level and you decide what exactly you want to study in psychology, then you start learning more things about psychology. Yeah. What does psychology come under? Comes under a science, comes under social science, it comes under humanities studies.
Neurocognition related.
It doesn't really have one, like you can't really say it is a science or you can't really say it is a social science.
It's applied science.
Yeah. People are working upstairs. And it's
noisy.
What does psychology say about dreams?
Freud.
Well, the first thing we think of when we say psychology and dreams is we think of Freud, because he spoke extensively on it. He said dreams were our unconscious desires, and we basically see things in our dreams based on what we want in life and
the desires,
that
the
we
interests
don't get,
that
and things
you
like that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, one way to look at dreams.
Also, it is that where you see on day-to-day life that, for example, if you see someone else's eyes and then you take that image and you see someone else's other face and then you just create an image.
Yeah. So what happens? So what happens is, based on what you're saying, your brain looks at a lot of things during the day, but might not pay attention to those things. So when we are sleeping, our brain doesn't really shut off. It's working. So what it's doing is it's sorting out different things that you see, and it puts things as important, not important, long-term memory, short-term memory, things like that. So while it's working, you are seeing images, So it's like it's going through a projection that you're looking at in your dreams. Half the time it makes no sense. Sometimes it makes sense. Your brain tries to make sense of those pictures and images and then weaves it into a story. I don't know, something like that. What will psychology be in the future? Hopefully, it's something that people want to do more, want to learn more about, something that people aren't afraid of talking about, and hopefully in the future people aren't afraid of saying, I'm a psychologist, or I am a therapist, or I work with a psychologist. Not be afraid to say I'm studying psychology also.
Also, even for the other people who need or seek help from the professionals, I hope that also just reduces, and they have this
there's
thing
no stigma.
There's no stigma to it.
Right. All right. Next, why psychology? So why is psychology important?
It's important to know someone's behaviors and to recognize if they need help or they don't need help, or how is it going to work with people. So it's all related to that.
Yeah. Also, I think psychology is also important because you get to learn about your lifestyle, your perspectives. You get to understand other people's perspectives. You get to understand why someone could be doing something. You get to understand how conflicts arise, or what could be the reason. You get to understand even why you are behaving in a certain way. So it makes conflicts less, like you tend to fight less maybe, or you just understand someone else's perspective, and that makes the world a better place. Why does psychology need math? I've been asking this question for a very long time.
You need maths, you need statistics for research purpose. So we have a lot of things that we do, like there are tests and we have to score it. So for that we need. Now regarding the research, it will be based on those certain those formulas and data collection and the way you test it. So it will be like ANOVA and other.
So we use maths to test, to score stuff, to put in numbers and things like that. We might be like a very subjective type of stream, but we use maths a lot when it comes to research. Why does psychology use ethical standards?
Confidentiality is...
that's a type of ethical standard.
Yes.
We use ethical standards because of the same reason that every other profession uses ethical standards. We work with human beings, and even if we do work with animals as well, for research and things like that. But when we work with all of these creatures, all of these human beings and animals, we have to use or follow some kind of rules and ethics. We cannot cause harm to them. We cannot do certain things. So confidentiality is one, because people are telling us
stories about themselves, and that would be
sensitive
something
information.
very sensitive.
They are giving us sensitive information. They're telling us things that they don't want anyone else to know, and that's the reason they're talking to us. So that's one. Two, we have to know our boundaries. We cannot cross that line. We have certain boundaries. We are not your friend. We are not your colleague. We're just talking to you. You're just there. You're talking to us. We cannot hug you. We cannot say anything. We cannot do
Hold hands or...
we cannot console you in that way. We can help you to an extent, but we can't really console you in that way. Why does psychology have a silent P?
English.
Because of English and because the Greek. It comes from a Greek language, and the Greek language allows you to... Better.
Okay.
Next.
So, how is psychology related to crime and criminology?
Law and criminology.
Law and criminology.
So basically it's like we can use psychology to go into the court, be a witness. We use psychology to understand or to profile a criminal, to see their behaviors. We could use it to see who is potentially a criminal or who is a criminal, or things that are based on their behaviors and how they are and all their mannerisms. Also, we can use it to explain crime, like explain why the crime has taken place, what was going through the criminal's head when committing the crime. That way you understand the criminal better, you understand why he does certain things that he does. And it's mostly used in these aspects, or even like practically in these aspects, or theoretically for research. And
yeah, I would like to add on to that. There are various researches which are on serial killers and these rapists. So it shows a lot of that the mind is related, or it makes the person do crime sort of in a certain way.
Yeah.
So that's how it's related.
Okay.
Next, how is psychology related to medicine?
So we have a field in psychology called psychiatry.
Psychiatrist.
And psychiatry is where a psychiatrist can prescribe people medications. So that's how it's related to medicine. In other ways, like other times also, we have people, counselors and all, who speak to patients, who go in for like maybe major surgeries or things like that. If you're going to lose a leg, or if your life is just going to change around because of a particular surgery. So we talk to them, kind of understand what is going through their head, how it is, they're okay for the surgery. So sometimes, most of the time, a counselor speaks to a patient before they get into a surgery, just to know that they're okay to be, under that blade or on a surgical table.
Okay. How can psychology major be
Depressed?
We need.
No, I mean, how can we be depressed? We can.
We are humans.
Yeah, it's not like we can't. Just because we know what depression is doesn't mean we can always prevent ourselves from being depressed. Also, depression doesn't look at us and say, okay, you're a psychology major, I won't come to you. That doesn't happen. There's no discrimination when it comes to being depressed.
Yeah, so even we need therapists who we can go and share about ourselves and try to, relax our minds and restart again.
Definitely. Right.
Alright. This is done.
So that way. Next we move on to mental health. Alright. So what is mental health? Mental health is
day-to-day experiences that you go through.
Your state of mind at an everyday level, how you are, how you feel. It could be stress, sadness, anything, happiness. That's your mental health. What does a mental health nurse do? A mental health nurse is a nurse who works in a psychiatry setting. She is like a psychiatric nurse. Yeah, she or he is a psychiatric nurse. They work with families.
They work with the clients also.
Yeah, they work with clients, families. Anyone who's going through things like that. It's like just like our doctor and nurses. That's the way it is. What does good mental health look like? What does it look like?
It looks like if you're able to cope up with what difficulty you have or issues you're facing. So if you know how to cope better, or if you know, or you can, in fact, even if you can recognize that you can try and cope yourself better, that also could be mental health, like a good mental health.
Yeah. So good mental health is just you being mostly positive in your life than negative. You being mostly thinking about positive things rather than thinking about negative things all the time. What can cause mental health issues?
The mental health issues,
what can cause mental health issues? Anything and everything.
Yeah.
Anything and everything can cause mental health issues. It can be, depending on how you are, it could just be you walking to work. It could be you having a confrontation with somebody. It could be you seeing something that triggers something else. It could be anything. It depends on how it is for you and your experiences and things like that. Okay, what can I do to improve my mental health? You can exercise.
You can exercise,
sleep.
yeah.
You can eat well. You can make sure your lifestyle is such that, again, you have more positives than negatives.
And also, if you can go to a psychologist and you can try and
if you think
seek help.
If you think that you cannot do it yourself, obviously there are mental health professionals out there to help you. What will they ask me at a mental health assessment?
Everything about you first. So it can be relating to your childhood and how are your experiences with your family, with your neighbors, with anybody, whoever is related to you, how your workplace is, anything. So from the childhood till now, whatever it is, we are going to ask you.
We ask you everything. We ask you anything we need to know about you. Everything. We ask you everything. It's like a date. And we know everything about you in one day. Alright. Why is mental health awareness important? So that you know what mental health is, you understand what mental health is, you understand how to speak to people who are going through mental health issues.
Also, you can be aware about yourself, of how to deal with other issues that are related. So being aware about yourself and being aware about others could be what awareness actually means about mental health.
And also you become sensitized. Being aware means just trying to get rid of the stigma. You know how stupid the whole stigma is. So that's it. Why is mental health a taboo? Because it's a taboo because society lets it be a taboo. There's during history, during ancient times and all of it, people used to think that everyone who has mental health issues, mental illnesses, are either possessed or they have kind of some demonic thing going on with them, or someone has cursed them and things like that. Unrealistic things. So that's just gone on to this day, and people forget about the whole demonic and possession thing, but now it's just stuck with the whole taboo. They don't know why, they just know it's a taboo. And so everyone just says, oh my god, you have an issue, or you're this, you're that. It means you're crazy, or you're going to see, or you're talking to either a counselor or a psychologist, or you're going for pastoral counseling. That means something's wrong with you and things like that, which isn't the case. So why is it a taboo? It's because we let it be a taboo. We don't talk about it enough. We don't do anything about it. That's why it's a taboo. Why is mental health ignored?
Because they consider physical health much more it's a priority than mental health. First reason.
Calling out physical health.
So I guess that is one of the reasons that they have a taboo about mental health, and also it is being ignored because of this reason. They don't understand the importance of how much mind is also related to body. So that's how it's ignored and nobody cares about it.
Yeah, so what happens is, because of the taboo, mental health is ignored. And because it's ignored, there is a taboo. So if we didn't ignore it, and if we spoke about it as much as we speak about anything else, I don't think there would be a stigma about it, because then people would see, okay, everyone's talking about it, maybe we should as well. That's how it is. Why is mental health important for students? Because students are in a lot of pressure and under a lot of stress and pressure. That's why.
Yeah, and it can be pressures related to anything. It can be maybe through their parents, or even if it's a competitive world right now. So they want to do the best and compare themselves to others. So that's how these students also need to know what mental health is.
Yeah, and students also are going through this age wherein they're going through a lot of changes. They have a lot of issues to deal with, not only studies, but the only pressures that are put on them is to do with studies. Like, their parents keep nagging them about studies. They have the competition of getting better marks than the neighbor next door or their cousins, or things like that. And so that's a pressure for them, and that's something they find it hard to deal with among other things. That's why it's important for them to deal with their mental health as well. Why is mental health important during the lockdown? Because
It can lead to something.
the lockdown has, now the lockdown has led to a lot of introspection. People are introspecting, they're thinking about their lives, they think about themselves a lot, because they have no distractions, no work, no nothing to distract them from anything, from thinking about themselves and for themselves. So a lot of people have thought about their mental health, and this lockdown has brought up a lot of anxiety, a lot of unknown. Nobody knows what's going on, nobody knows what's going to happen. So stress and anxiety during this mental health, during this lockdown, is a necessity to have.
Yeah, and also it's like people are not used to this particular phase, because all they had to do was sit at home, and then they had no jobs in hand, and there was a lot of problems with their work. They wouldn't go out, they couldn't see or meet people. So this lockdown had a different phase which affected many of them. So I think
the impact has been great. So why does mental health interest you? Why does it interest me? Because it's my job.
Yeah, okay, it's a job, and also it interests me or the others. If it's you, it should interest you, because you have to learn how to be aware about yourself and others. So that's how it gives an importance to mental health. Also relating to the other previous questions, it could be like you can ignore the mental health, and that will be a problem to you and others. So that's how it's like, if it interests you, then you might try and tell it to someone that mental health is important. And that's how it can interest everybody, and it will no more be a taboo.
Yeah, so my mental health interests me because it's my mental health, and I think it's important for me to know what's going on in my mind and how I'm feeling right now. Your mental health should interest you. Your mental health interests me because it's my job. That's how it works. So even probably your friend's mental health should interest you in a way where you ask them if they're okay, if things are going well. That way at least you would know what's going on with your friends, and you would be able to help them if necessary. Why does mental health affect physical health?
Mind and body connection or relation. Yes,
Yeah.
so mind is always in coordination to the body. So if you have mental stress, if you have some stress, it will show it in a physical health way. That is, like, you might suddenly have stomach ache or headache, and then such things relate mind and body. So
Yeah, so what you're saying is when you're stressed, usually when you're stressed, you feel like your stomach's growling, or you get stomach aches and stomach pains or headaches. Or when you're angry, or when you are frustrated, you get headaches. So all of this frustration, this anger, this stress is in your mind, which is your mental health, which then affects your physical health through headaches, through stomach aches, and these kind of things, through ulcers or acid refluxes, things like that. Even sleep deprivation. So it's like a cycle. You're stressed, anxiety, you're anxious, you don't sleep. You don't sleep, you wake up with a headache, you wake up irritated, you wake up with frustration. You wake up with a frustration and a headache, then you're depressed. You're depressed, or you're anxious, or you're stressed, and then that cycle just keeps going on and on and on. That's it. Next.
Okay. How mental health. So, how is mental health related to physical health?
I just said it.
Mind and body connection.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all. Then, how is mental health different from physical health?
It's in the words, mental and physical. So mental health is to do with your mind, your behaviors, your cognition. And physical health has to do with your physical being. You know how your motor skills work, how your hands and legs are doing, how your insides are doing.
Yes. How is mental health affected by COVID-19?
The same way lockdown mental health is during the lockdown. It's just a bunch of anxiety, it's just a bunch of unknown that is happening. COVID-19 is like maybe an invisible zombie that's running after you, and you don't know when it's going to touch you, catch you, eat you. So it's like that, you're running away from an invisible zombie.
Yeah,
and that's scary.
That triggers your anxiety also.
Exactly, I mean that's scary.
Okay. How does social media affect mental health?
Two ways.
Yep.
Negatively and positively. Negatively, social media is a place where people can post whatever they want, say whatever they want, and more often than not there is no retribution, no reprimanding. No one does anything about the person who says something negative about another person. I mean, there is this whole cyberbullying, screening and everything that goes on, but not all the time do people get called out for it. So there are times when your mental health could be affected by one negative comment that someone makes about you or someone else or something else, because that's all it takes. It only takes one comment or one thing or one word for a person to hit a nerve that could trigger something bad for you.
Yeah, whereas the positive part would be where you can share about yourself to someone, so you will get some kind of a support from someone.
Yeah,
and
meet a group.
Yes,
kind of thing.
It's like it's good for you to communicate with somebody and share about your thoughts, your feelings, how do you feel, and that's how it can be better.
And if you're up to it, like if you, for example, you have anxiety, and if you want to, you can share stuff about your anxiety. Other people will feel more encouraged to do the same, and maybe it would be like a group of people sharing things about their anxiety, supporting each other, encouraging each other. That way you're working on your mental health. You're working towards having a better mental health. So it works that way.
Okay.
How does exercise affect my mental health? Exercise is good for everything.
For everything. It increases your chemical
dopamine, your serotonin, your adrenaline. So all of the good chemicals that are in your body that are secreted.
Yeah.
Exercise kind of helps or makes it possible.
Or elevates your mood, basically.
Yeah. It's like a catalyst that helps speed up the secretion of these chemicals. It keeps you healthy, mind and body healthy, because if your body is healthy, your mind is healthy. If your mind is healthy, your body is healthy. That's how it works. So that's how it affects.
How does sleep
help my mental
health?
Again, you get good sleep. You are able to feel more refreshed, more rejuvenated in the morning or whenever you wake up. And also, sleep allows your frontal lobe to kind of secrete this one chemical called serotonin while you sleep. So it kind of fills the reservoir of serotonin when you're sleeping. And serotonin makes you happy. You need serotonin. Next.
Okay, how can I improve my mental health? Sleep,
exercise,
and
eat food.
Yes.
good healthy food. Good healthy food, don't miss your meals. Make sure you get enough of sleep, that is about
8 hours.
8 hours.
6 to 8 hours.
6 to 8 hours a day. And exercise at least once a day. Anything, it could be any kind of activity. Also, besides all of these, you could do activities that make you happy. Your interests, mostly your interests. Those are things that make you happy. It could be anything: playing video games, reading a book, cooking,
Art.
eating, art,
Anything. Yes.
Yeah.
Next. When?
Okay.
Okay. When is World Mental Health Day?
10th
October.
October.
10th October.
Yeah.
So when
And,
does
Mental Health Act apply? So Mental Health Act is basically an act that says that if a person is in harm to himself, to others, he must need immediate treatment and care and attention. So it applies when
In
this
a
is usually
workplace setting?
This is usually when another person, like a third person, not you, not your friend, not your parents, but a different, like an organization, makes you or invokes it on you. So it could be a court of law saying that you need help. It could be your workplace. It could be your workplace. It could also maybe be sometimes an NGO or an institution of that sort that tells you like you need this kind of help. So yeah, that's all.
Okay. So when does
Mental health become mental illness? Yes, mental health. When does mental health become mental illness? They're two separate things. So mental health, like I said, basically, the first question was what is mental health? So
it's related to like what happens to your day-to-day activities?
So mental health is your everyday feelings, your sadness, your happiness, your stress. All of that is mental health. Mental illness is when all of these everyday feelings become worse and become your feelings, like feelings that go on for a long period of time.
And it becomes difficult for you to cope up with, on your daily basis. That's how it affects.
It becomes difficult for you to do it. Like for example, stress becomes anxiety, sadness becomes depression. So when that happens, when all of these things turn into something of an illness that we diagnose, that is when it happens. Yeah.
Okay. When will my mental health get better? Hey, it's the same almost. So
it will get better when you work on it, work towards it. First, you recognize that you have a mental health issue. You have trouble coping up with something. First you recognize that fact. After you recognize the fact, you just do things to work towards having a good mental health. You exercise, you change your lifestyle.
Yes.
You sleep
better.
You let go of all the toxicity, the toxic people, the toxic relationships, toxic comments. You just let go of all the toxic thinking, negativity, all of those kind of things, and change your life. Take some time for yourself. Spa day, go on a vacation, leave your work, whatever you need to do.
And do something that interests you and do something that keeps you active, so that or as said before, like it increases your
serotonin,
serotonin or dopamine. So something that keeps you active.
Yeah.
That would be also.
That's it. We're done.
Done. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.
Yeah.
And
we have more to come.
Yes.
If you have any other frequently asked question themes or topics that you would like us to answer, comment below. Don't forget to subscribe.
Like and share to our channel on YouTube. Also, don't forget to visit our website at olifecounseling.com.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Peace.